She walked into the restaurant with only $5 in her purse, her heart pounding as the reality of her situation set in. The man she trusted had turned their date into a cruel joke. The laughter of the diners around her only made the humiliation worse, and the manager's cold insistence to escort her out felt like the final blow. Just when she thought things couldn't get worse, someone stood up. Her billionaire employer. What happened next left everyone in the room speechless and changed her life forever. Before we begin, tell us where you're watching from and what time it is in your corner of the world. Let's get started. Sophia smoothed the hem of her white dress, trying to appear calm as she sat at the corner table. The fabric clung to her knees, her posture stiff, her fingers nervously playing with the edges of the wine glasses in front of her. One was for her, one for the man she had trusted, but now only a reminder of his absence. She kept glancing at her phone, tapping the dark screen, hoping for a message. Nothing. Evan had promised he'd be there on time, that he'd handle everything. Yet, here she was, with only $5 to her name, feeling more out of place than ever. The server came over, polite but insistent. "Miss, may I take a card to hold the table? It's just policy. We've had a few walkouts recently." Sophia's throat tightened. "My guest will be here any moment," she replied, her voice wavering. "He said he's covering everything." The server hesitated, then flashed a practiced smile. "Of course. I'll check back shortly." Her chest burned with anxiety. She didn't have a card, just the crumpled $5 bill she had left after giving away the last of her savings. That was meant for bus fare, for emergencies. But she'd spent the afternoon returning a misplaced envelope of $3,000 she'd found while ironing a jacket. She could have kept it, kept the money, kept the moment for herself. But instead, she placed it quietly on her employer's desk, an act of integrity that would cost her. Hours later, the house manager cut her overtime. By the time she sent money to her mother and paid her brother's school fees, only $5 was left. Her fingers tightened around her phone as she stared at the screen. "Please, Evan, don't make this worse." At a nearby table, a man in a deep brown suit closed his menu. Ethan Grant had come here for business, but when he looked up, his gaze froze. Sophia, his maid, sat alone, her posture sinking lower with each passing second. He leaned back in his chair, silent, listening. The door opened. Evan walked in, oozing casual arrogance, gray jacket unbuttoned, hair perfectly slicked. Without a second glance, he slid into the chair across from her, no apology in sight. "Hope you weren't waiting too long," she forced a smile. "Just a few minutes," he muttered, grabbing the menu and chuckling. "Wow, the prices here are crazy. You picked this place." Her eyes widened. "You suggested it." Evan waved it off. Right. He turned to the server. "Sparkling water for me. Let's just take a look around first." The server returned, clearing his throat. "Sir, we'll still need a card to start the service." Evan leaned back in his chair, smirking. "Ladies first." Sophia froze, the words hanging in the air like a weight. Heat rushed to her face. I don't have one," she stammered, fumbling through her purse. Her hands shook as she pulled out the crumpled $5 bill. "This is all I have." Evan's laugh pierced the air, loud and mocking. $5? That's what you brought to a place like this?" His voice was sharp, cruel. Sophia's throat tightened. She couldn't breathe, couldn't think. Her gaze dropped to the table, blinking rapidly to fight back the sting in her eyes. "You really should have warned me," Evan sneered, his voice rising with every word. "You want a maid's salary and you drag me here? What were you thinking?" Nearby diners shifted in their seats. One man stared directly at her. A couple whispered to each other. Sophia dabbed at her eye, pretending it was nothing. "I didn't," she whispered. Evan cut her off, his words venomous.
What?
You thought I was going to pay for this luxury? His laughter echoed. You can't even cover bread, he snorted. Honestly, I should have known. He looked her up and down. Look at you. Her hands trembled uncontrollably. I told you I don't have. Evan interrupted her, voice rising in mockery. Don't tell me you scrub floors or something, he sneered. Oh, wait, maybe you do. A maid, right? The word slapped her face, harder than she ever expected. The floor manager approached with a stiff, impersonal tone. Excuse me, ma'am, sir. Without a valid card, we'll need to release the table. Policy. Sophia's lips parted, but the words got stuck in her throat. Then, I'll go. I don't want to cause trouble. She stood, clutching her purse tightly, the sting of humiliation burning through her. Her breath quickened, heart racing, as every step felt like it echoed in the room. Just then, a chair scraped loudly across the floor. All eyes turned as Ethan Grant rose. His deep brown suit glowed under the warm light, his expression calm, every inch of him exuding control. His voice cut through the silence, strong and measured. That won't be necessary. Sophia froze. Her gaze shot up, her stomach dropping in horror.
Ethan.
Her employer. The last person she wanted to see witness this moment. Sir, she began, her voice faltering, but Ethan held her gaze without blinking, his presence commanding the room into stillness. The atmosphere thickened. His words had such weight that even the clinking of glasses stopped. Sophia stood rigid, her purse a lifeline against her chest, her eyes brimming with unshed tears. Evan blinked in shock, then smirked. Oh, so you know her. That explains everything. She works for you, huh? You're really going to save your maid in front of all these people? The word maid sliced through the air like a weapon. Sophia winced, the sting almost unbearable. Ethan stepped forward, his movements deliberate, calm yet unwavering.
She's not just a maid.
She's Sophia, and she is my guest. The floor manager shifted uncomfortably, clearly rattled. Sir, our policy requires. Ethan didn't flinch. He handed over his black card, voice ice cold. Place any hold you need on this. Then apologize to her. She's the one who deserves it. The manager's throat tightened as he turned to Sophia. Miss, I'm sorry. I shouldn't have spoken to you that way. Sophia's gaze dropped, her voice barely audible. It's fine. No. Ethan's voice cut through the air, sharp and unwavering. It's not fine. You don't apologize for being humiliated. They apologize for humiliating you. The atmosphere shifted. The diners squirmed in their seats, murmurs spreading like wildfire. Evan leaned back in his chair, a smug grin forming. Really? You're making a scene over this?
She's broke, man.
Look at her. Came in with $5. $5? And you're going to pretend she belongs here? Ethan's jaw clenched, his eyes burning with intensity. You want to talk about money? Let's talk about integrity. His voice was low, deliberate. This afternoon, she found $3,000 in my jacket. Cash, no record, no witnesses. She could have taken it and no one would have known. But what did she do? The room fell into a suffocating silence. She placed it back on my desk, no questions asked. That's who she is. And that, Ethan's words hung in the air, heavy with meaning, is worth more than all the insults you've thrown tonight. He pointed at Evan with cold precision. And you reduced her to $5? Sophia's lips quivered, her hand trembling as she pressed it to her mouth, the first tears escaping despite her best effort. Evan's smirk faltered, disbelief flickering in his eyes. Come on, she's playing you. Ethan's eyes narrowed, his voice hardening with authority. Delete the recording. The room went still, all eyes fixed on Evan's phone, its red light blinking ominously. Evan stammered, panic creeping into his voice. Ethan's command was a whip crack in the silence. Deleted.
Now.
At that moment, security stepped in, arms crossed, their gaze unflinching. Evan cursed under his breath, fumbling with his phone until the red light finally flickered out. He shoved the phone into his pocket and stood abruptly, the chair scraping violently against the floor. "Enjoy your little charity project," he hissed, his face reddening. "She's all yours." He stormed out, slamming the door behind him. A deep, collective breath escaped the room. Ethan turned back to Sophia, his voice softer now. "Sit." Her body shook under the weight of the eyes on her. "Let them," Ethan said firmly. "They're not staring at shame anymore. They're seeing what respect looks like." Sophia slowly sank back into her chair, her hands trembling. The waiter stepped forward, uncertain. "Shall I take your order, sir?" Ethan didn't even glance at the menu. "Bring her something simple. No fuss. Something she'll enjoy when it arrives. Roast chicken and vegetables. Warm, comforting, nothing for show." Sophia's fingers tightened around her fork, hands still unsteady. "You didn't have to do this," she whispered. "Yes, I did," Ethan replied, his gaze steady, unwavering. "Because you gave me honesty when no one was watching. Tonight, I gave you dignity when everyone was." Her tears spilled once more, but this time a smile broke through. The next morning, Ethan stood in his office, Sophia nervously lingering by the door, her uniform stiff and unfamiliar. Clara, the HR director, shifted uneasily under Ethan's piercing gaze. "Her overtime was cut without cause," Ethan stated, his voice like stone. "Restore it, with back pay." Clara opened her mouth to protest. "Sir, that's unusual." "And enroll her in evening classes," Ethan cut in. "Hospitality management, bookkeeping, whatever she chooses. Full tuition, effective immediately." Clara hesitated, clearly thrown off. "That's a lot, sir." Ethan's eyes narrowed, sharp as a blade.
So, was what happened yesterday.
"Handle it." Clara nodded quickly, barely containing her unease. "Yes, sir." Sophia's breath caught, confusion and gratitude filling her. "Why would you?" Ethan turned to her, his voice softer now. "Because no one who shows that kind of honesty should ever have to walk into a restaurant and be humiliated for $5. No more scraping by. No more shame." Sophia's lips quivered. "I'll pay it back one day, every cent." Ethan shook his head firmly. "This isn't debt. It's justice. And it's yours." Tears blurred her vision as she whispered, "Thank you." "Don't thank me," Ethan said, his voice gentle but firm. "Just remember this moment and pay it forward when it's your turn." What would you have done if you saw someone humiliated over $5? Would you have turned away or stepped in? Share your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more stories where dignity has no price tag.